Bruce Willis played strong people who never gave up. When bombs went off, he stopped them and always got away alive. Everyone was shocked when his family told the truth about him in 2025. As a child, he barely stuttered and went on to become Hollywood's toughest action star. Now, he can't speak. He needs help to walk. People are speechless about the choice his family just made about what will happen after he goes. This is no longer about movies. This is about a painful truth that not even his best friends saw coming. Bruce Willis was born on an American military base in Idar-Oberstein, West Germany, on March 19, 1955. David Willis, his father, was stationed there as an American, and Marlene, his mother, was from Kassel in Germany. His life was stuck between two worlds from the start. After his dad's time in the military finished in 1957, the family moved to Carnes Point, New Jersey. Bruce grew up in a small house that was about 900 square feet and was the oldest of 4 kids. Not only was money tight, but so was room. He had to quickly learn how to fit in while the adults tried to pay their bills. After that, something took place. That made him live in his own skin differently. He got a serious stutter when he was 4 years old because of a problem with his tonsils surgery. It lasted for years. The school became mean. His classmates made fun of him and copied the way he spoke for almost 10 years, until the shame became normal. He stopped talking because of this. He turned shy. He tried to get away. But when he walked into Penn's Grove High School acting class, he saw a hole in the wall. He could breathe there. Then, during a school play on April 15, 1971, he found out something that shocked even him. When he learned lines by heart, he could speak easily. Not all the time. Not really. Those words came out of his mouth. That moment did more than just make him act. He could stand in front of people without feeling trapped, and he later said that theater was the key to getting over his speech problem. Method acting and speech therapy helped him stay in control. But things didn't get better overnight. Bruce had at least 17 jobs after high school. He was in charge of trucks that brought cows. He had a job as a guard at the Salem nuclear plant. As a page at NBC, he got snacks for stars on Saturday Night Live while they were getting ready. He kept bar. He worked as a waiter. He tried to handle everything while going to Montclair State College. But after one term, he dropped out because being diagnosed with dyslexia made it hard for him to do well in school. Still, those jobs gave him something else. He talked to all sorts of people. He learned how people talk when they are scared, tired, or trying to impress someone. Even if you don't notice it at the time, that turns into fuel later on. He had worked so hard to get rid of his stutter by 1978 that it was almost gone. One story says that he copied John Wayne's slow, deliberate drawl and used method acting to change the way he spoke. Walt Fleming, Bruce's acting coach, was so sure he would fail that he bet $100 on it. He was wrong, though, because Bruce spoke easily in class and on stage. It wasn't about a prize, but that win was important. It had to do with power. It was about finally feeling like his sound belonged to him. In October 1976, he took his hunger and went straight to New York City with only $200. The city didn't want him there. He slept on the floors of bars. Getting by on odd jobs. His first job that paid was in a Nabisco ad as the Honey Bunny. It was worth $75. It's not a lot of money, but it shows that someone saw him and said yes. Then there was the grind, which breaks most people. He tried out for over 300 off-Broadway parts over the next few years and kept getting turned down. Until getting turned down became normal. After going to the Circle in the Square Theater School, he got a job with the Heaven and Earth Theater Group. From 1978 to 1979, he worked in professional plays, building his reputation with each show. Then TV caught his attention just when he needed it. After a tough screening process, he got the part of David Addison on Moonlighting. Reports say that over 3,000 players tried out, and Willis had to try out 11 times before he finally got the part. After the pilot show aired on March 3, 1985, 16.2 million people watched it, and his life changed overnight. Quickly came fame, but also trouble. Anxiety was said to have grown between Willis and co-star Sybil Shepherd from the start, and Shepherd's frequent delay was said to have cost the production $50,000 in extra work. The show really hit home with people, even with all the stress. By the end of the second season in 1986, about 27 million people watched each show on average. Willis was still getting paid $75,000 per show. After the fact, there are reports that he and Shepherd dated in secret, even though she was married at the time. And the fact that 17 kisses between them were cut out by ABC made fans want it even more. He was nominated for an Emmy in 1987 for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series. This made people sure that he wasn't just a lucky mistake. At the same time, he skipped the Golden Globes and went from party to party with Robert De Niro, who reportedly called him "stutter boy turned stud." That line stuck with him because it made him remember his old pain. After that, the moonlighting ride was over. Following 66 episodes, the show was cancelled in 1988. Rumors, chaos, and a 40% drop in ratings were said to be caused by baby talk and production problems. The money kept coming in even after it was over. As a side job, he kept getting paid, and those checks are said to have helped him buy a $7 million ranch in Idaho in 1989. That's the weird thing about being successful. There are times when the past keeps feeding you even though you are moving on to something else. In the middle of that storm, his personal life caught fire too. He met Demi Moore on a blind date at the opening of Stakeout on November 5, 1987. They got together quickly and became together. And became material for tabloids. It was a new beginning, and there was a lot of attention, the kind that makes every private moment public. Around this time, he made another choice that showed how stubborn he could be. He allegedly turned down an audition for James Bond in 1986 because he didn't want to lose his everyman image. There is a story that he told the directors, "I'm not a tuxedo puppet," even though it was said that each Bond movie made around $20 million. The choice fits the trend, even if the exact numbers were wrong. He didn't want to be confined. He was set on his own road, even if it meant leaving the safest money in the room. After Die Hard came out, it went from being a TV hit to an action legend. The first Die Hard was mostly filmed at Fox Plaza in Los Angeles from November 1987 to March 1988. It cost $28 million to make, which was about $3 million more than what was expected at first. The movie made over $140 million around the world, and it gave him a new look in pop culture. At the time, $5 million was thought to be a huge amount of money, and sources say he also got 15% of the movie's gross. It was hard work. Tales from the shoot say that he got hurt in stunts and refused to do a helicopter crash scene on July 22, 1988, because he was afraid of heights. He allegedly broke 12 ribs. Rocket launchers and SWAT trucks were said to have been blown up to make the explosions seem real, and the group had to follow strict city rules that said they could only use the helicopter for 2 hours for a rooftop explosion scene. This made him a new type of movie hero, one who bleeds and keeps going. You can think of it as chaos or precision. After the 1989 Writers Guild strike, Die Hard 2 came out in 1990. It was shot at Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C. The movie cost $60 million, and his pay went up to $15 million. And said that his fee alone made up a quarter of that amount. He is said to have broken Alan Rickman's nose during a practice, but shooting kept going. The movie made $240 million around the world, and because of the strike, plot changes had to be made quickly, sometimes even overnight, to keep the production going. In 1995, Die Hard with a Vengeance came out. It cost $90 million to make and made $366 million worldwide. But it was said that there were fights and delays while it was being made. There were reports that Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis had a pay disagreement. Willis is said to have left the set on June 14, 1995, after director John McTiernan cut a favorite scene, demanding changes to the script and more money. Another story says that a December 1994 script that was turned down got out to Variety and made a big deal. Some say that the movie's profits were used to give $1 million to stuttering clinics in New Jersey. This is thought to be because Willis has a personal link to speech problems. The design stayed the same through it all. Big hits, a lot of stress, and a man who pushed hard when he thought he was in a tight spot. Then there was a moment that, on paper, didn't seem important but was really big. Between March 28 and April 5, 1994, he filmed Pulp Fiction and played Butch Coolidge. His pay dropped from his normal $10 million to $800,000. The strangest thing is that it is said he paid Uma Thurman an extra $500,000 in secret so she could stay on the project. Pulp Fiction opened in Cannes on May 21, 1994, won the Palme d'Or, and made $213 million around the world. The story also says that it brought back jobs and raised his pay to $20 to $25 million per film down the road. Around the same time, he allegedly turned down Speed, even though $7 million was offered. One story says that he went to the set on April 12, 1994, and told Keanu Reeves, "Cars don't talk, guns do." This is why he decided to work on riskier Pulp Fiction instead. 20th Century Fox is said to have been angry about that choice, which hurt his relationship with the company for years. But the risk made people value his name in a different way. Getting things done did not stop the problems. A budget of $90 million was set for the fifth part in 1997, but it grew to $115 million. There were rumors that Willis wanted 22 changes made to the story and a bigger part for Milla Jovovich, but director Luc Besson first refused and then gave in. The movie made $263 million global and is now considered a cult classic. However, some people called Willis a diva because of the tension in the movie. Armageddon, which came out in 1998, had a $140 million budget and early reports of safety issues. One report says that Willis fired 4 crew members on the third day for breaking safety rules. He made the rules very strict because the stunts were dangerous. The movie made $553 million around the world, and his contract allegedly gave him a $14 million cut at the end. He also bet Michael Bay $1 million on whether the rocket math in the script was correct, which is a crazy fact. The story gets across the same idea whether the bet was ever paid or not. Willis wanted to be in charge of everything, even things that most stars wouldn't care about. In 1999, The Sixth Sense was the next big thing. It is said that the twist ending was shot on August 17, 1999. One story also says that Willis helped Haley Joel Osment get the right emotion over 60 takes. The movie cost $40 million to make and made $672 million around the world. The story also says that Willis made around $100 million from a deal that happened in the background. He wasn't just a star at that point. He had the power to change the room. But even though he had a lot of power, he still had painful falls. They also hurt people in different ways. The Hudson Hawk. It is said that Greenlit, which came out in 1991, cost between $65 and $70 million to make. Willis allegedly rewrote the script 17 times and insisted on keeping a weird scene where Danny Aiello eats pizza on screen. The movie came out on May 24, 1991, in 2,071 screens and made $708 million at the box office. However, it only made $17.2 million in the US by the end. It was said that the company lost more than $60 million. Critics didn't like it, and it was said to have won 3 Razzie Awards, one for Worst Picture. It was said to cost $40 million for the marketing campaign, which included 5 big city openings. It didn't save the movie at all. Another story says that Willis insisted on keeping a scene with the Vanilla Ice Cream song that showed how off the tone seemed to the audience. One story even says that after the bomb, job offers for him dropped by 65%. Then there was the terrible Broadway brawler. He is said to have quit on March 15, 1990, after only 17 days on the job, which caused Disney to stop production. At that point, the company had lost about $17 million, having spent about $14 million. Disney went after him. Instead of dragging it out, they made a deal that Willis would have to be in 3 Disney movies for less money, $3 million each instead of $15 million. He was said to have been pushed into Color of Night, Striking Distance, and North by that penalty deal. And the numbers around those movies are also not very accurate. The US took in $19.7 million from Color of Night, which cost $40 million to make. The budget for Striking Distance was $30 million, and it made $24 million in the United States. No one liked North, and he became another target for the Razzies. In an interview with Variety in 1995, Willis said that he felt stuck and unable to choose what he really wanted. He called this stretch of time artistic prison. Then the whispers started to come out. One claim says he even bet $500,000 with director Joel Silver on Hudson Hawk's opening weekend and lost it all when the movie bombed on May 27, 1991. This led to rumors that he had a gambling problem, especially after he was seen in casinos in 1992. There is no proof that person was fully addicted in that story, but the idea spread because so many people were involved and it happened at such a bad time. In 2004, Bruce Willis started a new type of business. At first, it didn't look like it was going to fail. It looked like a plan. He supposedly agreed to make 20 action movies for about $1 million each. The timing was important because Hostage made $34 million at the box office in 2005. He was still a big deal when movie producers wanted a face to sell a movie quickly. And the years went by. By 2020, he was said to have finished 25 of these quick action projects, which cost a total of $25 million, even though most of them got less than 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's when the tone changed, since the model wasn't based on fans' praise. It was made to go fast. There was always the same talk on the sets, even though the shoots were short, sometimes less than a month. Willis would show up, work for a few days, finish his parts, and then leave. He wouldn't always show up to openings. But the movies kept getting money because of his name, even if the movies themselves weren't very good. The ad showed Bruce Willis, which was enough to make people want to buy. He became the face of action movies that are shown straight to video. Not because the pictures were strong, but because the machine that held them up was strong. And slowly, without a single moment that yelled, "It's over," his picture changed. One story summed it up with a shocking number: 23 of his last 29 movies were never shown in theaters. This made the change seem permanent. Then there was Set Up in 2011, which became a story that a lot of people tell. Since it doesn't seem real. Even though it only cost $20 million to make and was shot in 18 days, the movie still made $29 million, which was good news. The mood around Willis was what really mattered, though. At that time, it was said that he slept through 3 openings. There was a lot of backlash right away, and 50 Cent said in public that Willis was acting, saying that he barely talked to the group and seemed uninterested. People who watch movies and TV shows always notice when an actor isn't feeling well. He was only in the movie for 20 minutes, and his scenes often seemed to take place in a different movie than the major story. It made it seem like the work was just a transaction, quick work in exchange for a clean paycheck. As time went on, the talk about these movies' money got worse. Not because of the stories. In 2016, Marauders was said to have cost $15 million to make, but the news wasn't about the story on the screen. There was a story going around that the movie was the subject of an FBI investigation into money laundering after Willis cashed a $2 million check on the first day of filming. Then there was more talk about a 2017 union investigation that looked into how the money was spent. There were no charges brought against Willis in those reports, but the damage was done even without a courthouse. Without the scandal, the movie would have felt dirty. It showed that big-name stars can get paid up front, while the rest of the budget is made up of deals, transfers, and promises. That being said, people didn't just remember the score. It was a funny little thing that kept coming up. A claim that as part of the deal, his contract let him keep his hair from the Die Hard era. The point was the same whether people laughed or rolled their eyes. People saw it as a sign of how these roles had turned into easy jobs with short shoots and lone scenes, along with another check. When Trauma Center came out in 2019, the rumors got even stronger. The movie was supposed to cost $6 million to make, but it was cancelled because Willis wouldn't film a scene in a hospital gown without a $250,000 bonus. They said the shoot would only last 10 days, and the movie later sold to VOD for $1.2 million, which was clear why they kept doing it. There was no need for love in these stories. They had to sell it. The system worked as long as there were buyers, even if the crowds just shrugged. Even though all of that was going on in the movies, his personal life, starting with how he married Demi Moore, was always the center of attention. They got married at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas on November 21, 1987, after dating for only 4 months. They were joking about getting married on the plane, but all of a sudden it became real, and they got married in their suite instead of a church. Little Richard led a second service with family and friends the following month. That sound was both crazy and like them at that time. It was quick, brave, and almost dared the world to respond. Then there were the years with the family and the time in Idaho, which always felt like a different movie. They lived on a $7 million ranch in Haley, Idaho, with their 3 girls while they were married. It was away from the noise of Hollywood. It was born on August 16, 1988. Scout came after on October 5, 1991. The 3rd of February 1994 was when Tallulah came. A camel named Clyde was another thing that made the ranch popular that people couldn't forget. It was strange, but it also felt like a family trying to make their own world where the rules were less strict. But when stress builds up, even secret worlds break. On June 23, 1998, they said they were getting a divorce. And the last papers showed up in October 2000. Reports about the deal made it into a big story with numbers that didn't make sense. Over and over, the amount given was $90 million in cash and real estate, plus $30,000 a month for 13 years of child support. It was called friendly. You could tell they cared more about the family than the story because of the way they talked. In her later book, Inside Out, Demi wrote that they felt closer after the divorce than before. This may seem like a strange statement until you think about how long 2 people can stay close by having kids together and sharing a past. After getting married again, things got better for him on paper. They got married in Turks and Caicos on June 9, 2009. Bruce Willis married Emma Hemming. Mabel was born on December 1, 2012, and Evelyn was born on May 5, 2014. They bought a $18 million estate in Brentwood, Los Angeles, in 2014. The house was meant to be a place of security, privacy, and a fresh start. Still, even the old years could be heard. Demi Moore also talked about a time in 1995 that shocked people when it came up again in 2019. Willis wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom, she said. And when she picked the top part in G.I. Jane, he was so mad that he broke a $50,000 vase during the fight. People saw it as anger, fear, or a need to be in charge. Either way, it gave the public a rougher picture of a man who could be sweet one minute and angry the next. After that, the story went in a different direction that had nothing to do with contracts or the box office. His family told everyone in March 2022 that he had been diagnosed with aphasia, a disease that makes it hard to speak and understand language. For people who had been following his late career, that made more details make sense. Reports from the set said that he had trouble with his lines and that the conversation was cut down. On March 30, 2022, he officially stopped acting. Fans were confused about how he had still finished tasks even though his acting skills were getting worse. In February 2023, the family said that the diagnosis had changed to FTD, which stands for frontotemporal dementia. That's what they called it, a cruel disease, and each version got worse. FTD is known to change how people act, talk, and make decisions. Most people get it between the ages of 45 and 64. That way, when people heard the word, they knew where this was going. The year wasn't terrible. It got narrower slowly. Later reports went into more painful depth about the decline. Some reports said that by July 2023, his speech had gotten about 80% worse. The phrase that kept coming up was, zombie drug reactions. This may sound dramatic, but it's a real problem that families have to deal with. Hope can look like danger when the disease is bad, and sometimes the safest choice still feels like a loss. The Hollywood side then made some claims that made them look cold. One story said that after the FTD reveal, big agencies dropped him because they were afraid of being sued. Another story even talked about a claimed accident that happened on the set in 2022 and hurt someone. These are the kinds of claims that get around the web very quickly. Even when the facts aren't clear, they shape the story. There is no doubt that the business world changes quickly, and when someone becomes weak, the calls stop. Also, the old Hollywood fights were brought back into the light. A long-running story says that Disney didn't work with him from 1995 to 2005 because of the failed Broadway Brawler project. With $22 million put into it, it didn't work out. A story said that the fight led to a 3-film deal with Armageddon, The Sixth Sense, and The Kid, with a pay cap of $10 million per movie. Then more claims came out, like private memos that were made public in 2025 and a list of projects that were being held up. It's hard to be sure about those details, but Hollywood is used to the bigger idea. Don't destroy the wrong bridge. The smoke stays with you for years. Even the drama from his old relationship that he had while moonlighting came up again. A story going around said that Sybil Shepherd stopped following him in 2024 and then wrote a book in 2025 about their fight, which included a serious accusation about a rap party in 1987. It was another lesson that anger from the past doesn't go away just because time has passed or because one person gets sick. At the same time, the family side kept coming out in ways that shocked everyone. News stories said Demi Moore saw him 17 times in 2025, even though there was talk of a $2,000 NDA to keep the relationship private. A story that got out says she cried on Thanksgiving when she saw him like that. In